Movement is a highly useful tool for developing self-awareness, self-control, self-belief, self-determination, all the other aspects of the self as well. When you're moving, it is just you. Nobody else is moving your legs for you, nobody else is sucking oxygen into your lungs, and nobody else is feeling how tired your muscles are getting. It's just you and the inanimate environment. You're the one being tested. Parkour reminds us that we do still exist separately from everybody else, and that our actions are still ultimately our own responsibility. When we are free to think and decide how we choose, then even if we end up choosing the same things as other people, we're happier about it, because we're more certain that is what we want. The other reason why movement is a useful tool in this learning process is because we can easily observe the effects, because movement is something that we experience every day, even the least active of us. The differences between a parkour practitioner and a member of the general public are readily apparent, even if you're not paying close attention. If you are paying close attention, then you can learn a lot about overcoming social pressures as a result of comparing the two. You need to learn these lessons in order to practice parkour. You will often be training in a group, and groups generally have a positive atmosphere, but if you let this atmosphere affect you, if you let it persuade you to try something that you're not sure that you're capable of, then you are ignoring what your body is telling you about your capabilities, and instead relying on external messages, which may not be reliable. No matter how good these external signals may be, they're never going to be as reliable and as accurate a reference to your capabilities as the signals your own body produces for you. You need to block out everything apart from yourself and the obstacle that you're trying to overcome. To do otherwise means that you're relinquishing control over your actions. This is the reason that, despite the fact that many of these movements appear to be highly dangerous, parkour learned and practiced properly is no more dangerous than any physical activity, and a lot less dangerous than most. The whole idea is to remove the external pressures on you so that every decision is made rationally. The practitioner realises that they're in control of their own thoughts and actions, and in control of every aspect of themselves. They're in control of everything about the situation, and so are in control of the risks and danger as well. The risk stays low because they can choose to keep it low. This is the reason that, unlike many other activities, the accident rate in parkour decreases significantly as practitioners progress, because they start to appreciate the core differences between parkour and other activities. They realise that each and every injury that they suffer through parkour, these injuries are simply a sign of their own failure, the failure to evaluate a situation. And they realise that there is no good reason to try something unless they are sure that they can do it safely. It won't bring them success in parkour, because in parkour success is not about achievement, but about preparation. We've said before, it's not a performance, it's a training system to better prepare you for life.
One of the things which people sometimes ask us about when we're practicing parkour is the injury rate. And it's easy for people who don't do parkour to assume that we must get injured fairly often. But in actual fact, injuries are very rare. Cuts and bruises are fairly commonplace, but serious injuries are very rare because the people who do practice parkour tend to build up to things over a period of time. So it's fairly easy for the outside observer to come along and see something being done and think, that looks dangerous. But one thing which people don't realise is the hundreds of hours worth of practice, training and conditioning and so on, which have gone into building up to those kind of things. So in that sense, really, parkour is actually a very safe activity because people never tackle things which they're not ready for, which is one of the things that we always stress to the new people. And also, one thing which particularly attracted me to parkour is the non-competitive nature of it. So you're not training towards one competition, or you're not training to be better than somebody else. So that's the main difference, I think, between parkour and perhaps other disciplines where competition is involved.
Although the complete lack of a competitive nature in the parkour philosophy has obvious benefits on the safety side, there are many other benefits as well. The fact that the differences between each and every one of us are readily apparent further supports the idea that competition is an unnecessary concept, for what truly is the purpose of testing everyone against the same standards once you've acknowledged that we're all different. Why try and compare others? Why try to compare yourself to others when you've realised that the only standard that is important is your own? It's the only one you can ever measure up to. Also, the whole idea of a competition is that it is a test of the competitor's abilities in a certain artificial situation, and the more time we spend in artificial situations, the less time we spend in practical situations, which are the things that truly matter, the things that are truly useful. The more we do this, the more we forget about the things that are useful, and this helps nobody. If you are truly as happy as you can be all of the time, if your needs are covered and you're assured of having your needs covered even in the most severe emergency imaginable, if these things are the case, and are the case for everybody that you care about, if these things are all sorted, then frivolities are all that's left, and that's fine. However, if these things are not the case, if these things are not all sorted, then there is still room for improvement, and there is good reason to improve as well. This point is also relevant when it comes to motivation. As soon as your training goals shift from training for life to training to win a competition, it becomes a much smaller goal, one that you will arrive at and pass, unlike life, which you will never come to the end of until you die. Competitions start and finish, but life continues on, and to truly get the benefits of parkour, it needs to be incorporated into life itself, not just on the odd occasion in competition, but in every aspect of life, so that the lessons learned stay with you always.
You might have noticed that a lot of the training that we're doing at the moment in Manchester is actually at this undercover spot in Piccadilly train station. And the main reason for this really is the bad weather that we've been having. You know, at the moment it's pouring down outside. So it's good in the sense that we've got this area which is completely undercover, it's dry, and it is actually a really good training spot. You know, it allows us to do strength training and conditioning, and there's also some good opportunities to do flow work. So I think it's just good to have an area where you can come irrespective of weather, and you know that you can still drill some of the techniques which would be probably impossible to do when the surfaces are as wet as they are at the moment.
Spending a lot of time in one sport, it means that your training becomes slightly different. You start, because you get bored of the same movements, you start searching for more movement, you start being a lot more creative than you normally would. So because we're spending a lot of time here, I guess that's the way our training's going. It's good. It allows you to discover new movement and, again, like build your creative side of training more than your physical side.
Motivation is the core of parkour. Indeed, it's the core of any activity. The answer to the question, why do we do this, contains the key to the intensity and direction of any action we do, and in training that's just as much the case. It contains what we want to achieve, it contains our goal, and we need to take the time to understand the goal if we are to be able to work out how to get there. Otherwise, it's like asking the average member of the British public the way to North Gauhati. Yeah, exactly. You need to know where it is in order to know how to get there. Motivation also contains your desire. It tells you how much effort to put into reaching your goal, how important this goal is to you. The longer you stick at something, the further you'll go, the better you will get, the more likely you are to achieve your goal. And it's this intensity of your desire that governs the distance you'll go to achieve your goals. When you put the two things together, the various aspects of motivation that combine, the direction and the distance, you realise that this is going to be the ultimate guide to where you will end up. With a clear direction and the dedication to follow your path for as long as need be, you can get anywhere and achieve any goal. However, with a vague or changing sense of direction, or little commitment to your cause, then you'll have little chance of achieving anything. Ultimately, your motivation will determine your life.